Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for February 17th of 2025 is titled SpaceX rocket launch plume over California. So what do we see here? Well, here we see what looks like perhaps a giant fish up in the sky. The point off to the left hand side and then bulging out and then a trail down heading down towards the right hand side of the image. Now what we're actually seeing here is the trail from a rocket launch, and you can actually see the rocket there. And that would be the second stage of the rocket heading up into space. And that is at the tip of the plume over on the left hand side of the image. That is where the rocket is as it heads out into space. Now we can see the trails from it. And as we see the first stage down toward the lower bottom toward the right hand side, we can see where the first stage, and as that starts to dissipate out into Earth's atmosphere. Now the mission for this launch was to put 23 more Starlink communication satellites into low Earth orbit. So these are communication satellites, and you sometimes can see the whole trails of these going across the sky as they move in very low Earth orbits, similar to what the International Space Station does. So a difference with other communication satellites, which are in very high orbits that will stay in what we call a geosynchronous orbit over one place on Earth. Here instead, there are lots of satellites all together, and so that satellites are always over various areas and can be used for communication. So instead of just one satellite up there covering an area, you have multiple satellites that are constantly changing and moving to other areas over the course of their orbits. Now that's not the only thing that we see in this image. Although it is the most prominent, we do see another very bright object here as well. The brightest object is actually a street light over to the right hand side. So we can ignore that one, astronomically speaking, at least. But the very bright object is the planet Venus up toward the top of the image, in fact, almost the top center of the image. And that is the planet Venus, the planet very similar to Earth in size. So it is of the planets in our solar system. It is the closest to Earth in size, being only slightly smaller than Earth. It's also very prominent in the night sky and will remain so for about the next month. It will start sinking very quickly into the sunsets in the evening. So if the chance to see it is over the next few weeks, it'll start getting closer and closer to the sun at sunset. It will disappear toward the latter part of March and then reappear in the morning sky, and will spend the rest of the year as the morning star, rising a little bit before the sun and being very prominent in the morning sky. So here we get to see not only the SpaceX launch looking like a giant fish here as it launches Starlink communication satellites up into space, but also the planet Venus at the very top of the image. So that was our picture of the day for February 17th of 2025. It was titled SpaceX rocket launch plume over California. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be Thor birds. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.